The raw diet is a really safe and nutritious choice for virtually all dogs. But what if your dog can't chew up bones? Well, today I want to talk about building a raw diet with calcium supplements for both dogs and puppies who might have difficulty eating bones, or for people who aren't comfortable with feeding bones or want to cook their dog's meals. But what I show you about eggshells as a source of calcium might shock you. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and if you're on YouTube, click the alert notification. Okay, now before we talk about calcium supplements, let's quickly talk about how calcium works in your dog. You need to know this if you want to choose the safest option. Now, most of your dog's calcium is found in his bones, but it also floats around the body and acts as a chemical messenger that allows cells to respond to hormones and nerves. So without calcium, your dog's entire body would pretty much stop functioning almost immediately. So with this in mind, your dog's body keeps calcium levels really strictly regulated. And if there's not enough, then the parathyroid hormone will pull it out of your dog's bones. And if this happens for a while, then you might start to see bone loss or muscle twitching. Now, this is obviously a lot more dangerous for puppies than adult dogs because puppies' bones are still developing. So it's important that both dogs and puppies get enough calcium in their diets, but the amount of phosphorus in the diet is also really important. If you want to get calcium right, then you have to get phosphorus right too. And that's because calcium needs to first be combined with phosphorus before it can be stored in the bones. Now, if there's too much phosphorus in the diet, then calcium will be pulled from the bones to balance out the blood levels of phosphorus. So once again, too much phosphorus can also cause weak bones. Now, magnesium is also an important mineral because it helps both calcium and phosphorus build bones, and it also helps regulate levels of other important minerals and vitamin D. And of course, bones are a good source of magnesium. Now, the reason you need to add a calcium supplement to your dog's meals is that a meat-only diet without bone would only give your dog phosphorus. Remember, nearly all of the calcium is stored in bones. So your job is to replace the calcium and other minerals that are found in bones, including phosphorus and magnesium. Now, while meat is all phosphorus, bone contains a ratio of about 2 parts calcium for every part phosphorus. Okay, so now that we understand that, these are the 3 things you need to take care of when you consider adding calcium supplements to your dog's meals. First, how much calcium does it contain? Second, how much phosphorus does it contain? And third, what's the ratio of calcium to phosphorus? Now, I'll be the first to admit that AAFCO often gets it wrong when it comes to raw diets, but minerals are really hardy, and mineral requirements will be about the same for raw diets as they would be for the cooked commercial diets that AAFCO looks after. So with that said, here we have the AAFCO requirements for adult dogs and for growth and reproduction because puppies and pregnant moms need more calcium. Your job is to meet these basic requirements with any calcium replacement if you want your dog's diet to be safe and complete. Now, here's one really important point I need to make before we look at calcium supplements. You'll see that the requirements for calcium and phosphorus are the amount needed per 1,000 calories of food. And this is important because if you feed your dog a fattier diet, then it will contain more calories. So a food that contains more calories would need more calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium overall. And as you're about to find out, a lot of calcium supplements just don't work for high-fat, high-calorie diets. Now, don't worry, this is going to make more sense in about 2 minutes. Now, the first calcium supplement that I want to look at is Eggshells. And this is the supplement that most raw feeders use, but there's a problem with them. Eggshells only contain calcium. There's no phosphorus and no magnesium. Now remember, real bones contain all three minerals in good amounts. So why does this make eggshells a problem? Well, you can see that the lack of phosphorus in eggshells means that if you're feeding anything more than 10% fat, there won't be enough phosphorus in the diet. Plus, the calcium to phosphorus ratio is really out of whack. Ideally, you'd want a ratio of about 1.1 to 1, which is what you would get if you were using real bones or a commercially prepared diet. So you can feed eggshells as long as your dog's diet contains no more than 10% fat. But for puppies and pregnant moms, you just can't use eggshells at all. There's not enough phosphorus to meet their mineral requirements. So the bottom line on eggshells is they're not a good source of calcium for any dog really, but you can get away with them if the diet is less than 10% fat. If this is the case, then add a teaspoon of eggshells per pound of food. And don't forget, 10% includes any oils that you would add to your dog's meals. And no, by the way, let me know in the comments if this is helpful and if you want more of this content. So next, let's look at coral calcium, and seaweed calcium is similar, although it has a bit more phosphorus and magnesium. Now, like eggshells, coral calcium is really high in calcium, but relatively low in phosphorus. And once again, you can see that if your dog's food is more than 10% fat, he won't be getting enough phosphorus. And for puppies and pregnant moms, you just can't get enough phosphorus to balance out the calcium that they need. So you can give coral and seaweed calcium to adult dogs only, but again, only if the diet is 10% fat or less. And for these guys, add about 3/4 to a teaspoon per pound of food. Now last, I want to look at bone meal as a calcium supplement. Now bone meal is just bone that's been dried either with or without heat. Now, to be honest, even heated bone meal is okay because minerals are really resistant to heating. But there's also lots of brands of bone meal that are dried without heat. Now, if we look at bone meal for adult dog diets, now you'll see that we can use it with any amount of fat. And the calcium to phosphorus ratio is right where we want it to be at about 1 to 1. And this is because, just like real bone meal contains all of the minerals your dog needs to work with calcium, not just calcium, and they're there in the right amounts. Now, for adult dogs, feed about 2 teaspoons of bone meal per pound of food. Now, what about puppies and pregnant moms? Well, once again, bone meal works. In fact, bone meal is the only calcium supplement that works for growth and reproduction. That is, unless you want to give your dog a chemical source of calcium. Now, for growth and reproduction, though, you do need to adjust the amount based on the amount of fat. So once again, Mother Nature is your best resource when it comes to food. Bones are a natural part of the dog's diet, but not all dogs can safely enjoy bones. So if this sounds like your dog, then bone meal is definitely the best calcium supplement for him. It has all of the naturally occurring minerals that bone does, including magnesium, zinc, and even vitamin D. Plus, it's what Mother Nature wants your dog to eat. Now, if you want access to these tables, then I'll leave a link in the resources below. And as always, if you have a question about calcium or just raw feeding in general, just leave a comment below and I'm always happy to help out. And most importantly, if you like this video, make sure you like it, share it, and tell people about it. Thanks for watching.